everyone, this is Angela and welcome to my channel, AngieTheENTJ. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so that you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Several weeks ago, I posted a video that got a lot of views. Thank you so much to all of you. And it was about a husband and wife quarreling, or arguing, because the husband wanted to move his grandmother into their marital home and demanded for his wife to take care of her. Like, that's just something that falls out of the sky like rainwater, right? So the wife threatened to leave him if he tried it. And another video was about a situation where a husband had an outside baby, or in other words, he had an affair and a child was created with a woman outside of his marriage. And in that particular video, the husband was confronting his wife, the one that he cheated on, for not treating his affair child born from another womb the same as her own children. Okay. And then there's another video about a wife who told her husband that since he cheated on her, their marriage has now basically become an open marriage. She told him not to bring her any diseases or any babies, and that she is going to do her own thing outside the house with other men since he's been doing his own thing with other women. So there were a lot of passionate comments from many different viewers, and I thank everyone who watched the video, shared, and commented on it. Reading through the comments, I saw many schools of thought, but there were two major ones that kept appearing from my perspective and from my observation. One major school of thought was, just don't put up with it, leave. And a bit of quick disclaimer here, I personally happen to agree with that school of thought. I don't put up with that kind of stuff. I'm out. So the wife of the man who was trying to dump his grandmother on her, so that she can become a nursing home all in one, threatened to do just that if he moved his grandmother into their home while expecting her, that is the wife, to perform caretaking tasks. And I 100% agree with her. However, the wife who opened up the marriage after the mistress called her about the affair, along with the wife of the man that had the outside child, they each remained with their husbands. After, the offense, the wife who was trying to be converted into a nursing home by the husband threatened to leave if the offense happened. But these two women remained after these offenses occurred against them. So, okay, I love seeing the different perspectives again. Thank you to all who have liked, commented, and shared. There was one commenter named Sophia Rangel, I hope I said your name right, 1315 in particular, who asked a simple question, and that question is, why is she still married to him? Which I understood to mean, why are these women staying with men who are demonstrating such toxic behaviors towards them? And I responded to Sophia Rangel that 1315 that I have some observations why, and that I would have to show it in a video. So that's what I am doing today. So Sophia Rangel, 1315, this video is to answer your question. And for everyone altogether, I believe that I may have a fresh perspective to offer on the scenario that goes a bit beyond the fact of social conditioning, but it is part of the reason why. Okay, I know that I can be long-winded at times, so the brief observation that I have is that the reason why they do not leave is because they, like other women in their orbit, are operating under centuries of conditioning that will make them feel ashamed and less of a woman if they do not suffer through the trials and tribulations that their husbands put them through. And this conditioning didn't happen overnight. It started from the minute that they came out the womb and the doctor said it's a girl. Okay, so these women are raised to believe that suffering through earth as a form of a chaotic interim while waiting on heaven, or if they choose not to suffer, if they choose to rebel against their divine mandate, then a hot place with a creature hopping around with a pitchfork is awaiting on them. So this is where they are. And that's part of the reason why they are remaining there. They don't like what's happening to them, but they would rather endure that than to endure going into the hot, flamey place, okay? So from my perspective, what I see is that they're being fooled into believing that being nice and altruistic to the point where it impacts their sleep and weigh heavily on their free time is a heavenly mandate and not just another form of slavery in another name. I see it very clearly and I can call it out. But they don't see that because of how they were raised. There's nothing wrong with being nice and altruistic. That's not the issue in and of itself. There's everything wrong with it being weaponized to turn someone into a slave. So these women that we are speaking of, are being heavily impacted by centuries worth of conditioning on them. They are not going to leave their husbands because he cheated or he's being ornery or stubborn and just a mean old cuss, because in doing so, then what's happening is that they feel like that they are violating the very creator that they worship. And that is why they are still there. Nobody likes being mistreated. However, they will withstand the harsh treatment and see it as a test of their faith before they will make a choice which will upset their creator and prevent themselves from reaching heaven. I can respect this, is where many women are. On top of it, outside of religion, there are cultural norms that shame women for being single mothers, shame women for being divorced, malign women who are widows, malign women who are older, and heaven forbid if you're an unwed mother or you're not a virgin at the time of your marriage. I mean, there are so many eggshells to walk on with the hopes of not breaking them. So this is some of the reasons why they stay. However, I don't think that many of them realize how much they are actually worth to the very institutions that make them play the part of the subordinate within the relationships and within communities in general. In my eyes, I see it perfectly clearly. The woman is the most important piece in the economic equation. They know that if you influence the woman, then you will be rich. However, instead of empowering her to fully embrace her potential, these interests are afraid of a woman's true power and are afraid that she will not pick them. So they are doing everything to diminish her existence, only giving her validity if she does things according to how they see fit. Be submissive, give up all your free time to rub my feet and do little petty things for me and wait on me to say thank you. Oh, you're such a nice person. So that way I can keep you in the loop. And this is a portion of some of the reasons why I do content to inform women who are not like me. I know that they are not going to leave no way. At least know your value in terms of your economic worth so that you are not turned into a slave for people who have shown you that they are willing to offend you, violate you, cross your boundaries, deny you of your humanity, and to make a fool out of you and your family for generations to come, all for their economic benefit. I did a video previously showing that in 2020, women did nearly $11 trillion worth of uncompensated labor globally. $11 trillion is more than the amount of profits from 50 of the world's largest companies combined. If you put all the profits of 50 of the world's largest companies, Apple, Alphabet, which is Google, Samsung, Walmart, go down the list, Costco, you combine all those profits and put it into one little bucket, okay, according to the New York Times, okay, that bucket would be too small to contain the amount or the value amount of women's uncompensated labor. And I also shared that women's uncompensated labor, the things that you do for free around your home, the things that you do for free to help people in the community, all of that is a subsidy to the economy, meaning that without it, the economy as we know it will suffer tremendously. It may even collapse. So what this demonstrates to me is that whoever controls the mind and the womb of the woman controls the world. This is because at the core of a family, a community, and an entire nation is a woman, along with all of the issues that matter to her and those who she cares about. Those issues are going to revolve around health, education, shelter, well-being, safety, retirement, and other forms of security, and so forth. And like always, the men will follow her wherever she goes.
You know the hair-hatted hooligans, them bitches get to the game and act a fucking fool again. You know the hair-hatted hooligans, them bitches get to the game and act a fucking fool again.
Talking about how he loved the kids. You think he was crazy? Well, the majority of black men who talk about how they love black women, they're not with black women. They're the main one who's hurt one, got one pregnant, raped one, done all kind of crap to them. But they get online and say it because they're trying to line up their next piece of ass.
Yep. No, that's a fact. Or make some money.
Yep.
Because we know that they're consumers as well.
Yep.
So, and that's that's not racist. That's the truth. 80% of the consumer base is female. 80% of the consumer base is female. 80% of the consumer base is female.
Derek Jackson.
So, exactly. I was going to say he was pandering to them all day.
He was telling us all us was wrong, and he loved women, and he was just cheating on his wife every 5 seconds.
Yep.
And like always, the men will follow her wherever she goes. We saw that with how the hashtag girl math trend was going, where women were minding our own business, joking around about our little quirks about ourselves. And then it went bonkers. Why? Because who came over and started landing up in the chat, uninvited. And then after that began the hashtag boy math, right? So now I'm going to go into my little bit of long-windedness. I know. And read over an article from the Federation of Catholic Families Associations in Europe. Now, before I go any further, bit of disclaimer. Although we will be talking about different religious organizations and spirituality, my viewpoints are not centered on the validity of anyone's spiritual system. That's not up for debate here. We're not talking about religion itself. It's more about analyzing and understanding real events from a historical perspective that just so happen to involve different religious organizations. We do not proselytize on this channel, and everyone is welcomed here. So with that, let me read what it states. And it says, the areas in which a family operates are relevant, not only from a social standpoint, but also from an economic one. Like any business, a family operates through organization, professionalism, and efficiency. Family members conduct their family activities free of charge, producing many positive externalities to their members, meaning that it benefits each family member, and to society as a whole. Yes. Therefore, a family can be classified as an economic entity, and its function is original and necessary to achieve the common good in areas of constitutional importance, such as education and care, two categories that are strongly dominated by women who are employed in those sectors, by the way, education and care. So let me go ahead. Stronger families do not just consume goods and services. You see? But listen, but also finance the banking system with their savings. And that's not enough. They help relieve distressed public finances thanks to their intergenerational solidarity. Family is a relevant economic actor that should be supported as much as companies in its role towards society. So now, this is a religious organization, and they have provided their insight on the economic importance of a family unit. Let me turn this phone off. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep forgetting to do that before I record. Okay. So now let's give this some thought. The family is an economic entity. There you go. And who is doing the majority of the work on behalf of the family between men and women? As far as keeping up with birthdays, taking people to and from doctor's appointments, and other things. Okay. Who is literally pushing babies out of a small opening and risking her life while doing it and depleting her body's nutrients in order to nurture that infant? Let's think about it. So what you're looking at is a career website for the post office. There are over a dozen categories as far as job openings are concerned. This means that anywhere between 6 to 12 women had to go through this life-threatening and life-altering process, giving birth, that in today's time, they would have done $200,000 per year worth of uncompensated labor for 18 years to raise this infant from the womb to the high school graduation stage, okay? And that, on top of it all, $300,000 would have been spent just to nurture this infant through childhood to become an adult who will deliver the mail, or who will flip a burger at a fast food restaurant, or who will clean up and make a bed in a hotel room after the guests have left, or who will go down into a coal mining shaft, or who will dig ditches in between Jersey walls within inches of cars going more than 55 miles per hour, and so forth. No, I'm not saying this to look down on these jobs at all, quite to the contrary. In fact, this is why I strongly feel that women as a collective, we need to first understand our value and then take our seat on our throne without a doubt, shooing all of these creepy psychotic weirdos away that are no more than overgrown kids playing with toys and making policies that are against our lives because they are not in our shoes, they don't have our interests. Anyway, so I said all that to say, without women, there is no community and there is no economy. And that's not my opinion. Let's go back to the 12th century. Have you ever heard of the Cathars? How about the Albigensians? So before colonialism, there was this group that started to migrate away from the French monarchy and the Catholic norm at the time. Again, I'm not speaking about Catholicism itself, but the fact that they were the dominant religion in France at the time. So there were people that were like, you know what, this isn't working for me. I can't keep up with being a Catholic. I think there's a better way to live than what the monarchy is telling me. So instead of living up in the north near Paris, let me migrate down to the coast and just, enjoy life on the beach. So what I have are a couple of clips, and then I'll be right back. So let's watch them and I'll be right back, okay?
So who were the Cathars, these good Christians? The name Cathar comes from the Greek word katharos, which means pure. But the Cathars just called themselves the good Christians or the good men. And during medieval times, they were called the Albigensians because of their stronghold in Albi that they used as a hub as they spread their message through southern France and northern Italy. In their belief system, men and women were equal, and they both held positions of power. They believed in two gods, one that was in heaven, that was good and spiritual.
The sect was also unique in that they considered gender meaningless, as angels have no gender, and so women, for the most part, had equal standing with men.
The Albigensian Crusades are the Cathar Crusades. As Catharism grew, so did the church's hatred towards it. And the Cathars' belief that the Catholic Church was spreading a doctrine of demons didn't help any. At first, the Catholic Church sent Dominican preachers to try to convert them. But when one of the church officials ended up dead, Pope Innocent III in 1208 declared an all-out crusade against them. To get the knights he needed, he offered Cathar land to the French nobility and offered remission of sin to anyone who would serve the Catholic Church in this crusade for at least 40 days. The first massacre took place in Béziers, France, where over 20,000 people, Cathars and Catholics alike, were murdered. The Crusaders systematically took Cathar lands. The Crusaders systematically took Cathar lands. The Crusaders systematically took Cathar lands. And all Cathars who refused to convert were burned at the stake. Hundreds of thousands were murdered, and by 1245, the Cathars were forced underground.
Okay, I'm back. The reason why I'm bringing up the Cathars, who are the same as the Albigensians, by the way, is because it is estimated that this group began to appear in the year 1145, long before the year 1492 when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, long before colonialism and the conquest for new territories. And as you heard, that the Cathars treated women and men equally. Why am I pointing it out? Well, we are sort of in the same time again, except we have, iPhones and Androids. We're in the West, and there are no more lands left to crusade upon and conquer. So what happens when you have a greedy king who wants everything served to him on a golden platter. What happens when that greedy king has to appear to be bigger and wealthier and compete with the other greedier kings nearby him? You know, he's only one person and he doesn't have a womb. He cannot give birth to an army of soldiers by himself because you need a womb or a lot of wombs in order to do that. And you need to have greater access to land so that you can acquire more resources and more wealth. Again, you're only one person, so you cannot face down an army or a navy by yourself. So what do you need? You will need the women to give birth to the men who will be willing to die on your behalf. You cannot tell them this to their faces, though, because they will see you for who you are. You're a selfish king who does not care about the lives of his people. So what do? You find an equally greedy ally, and during the 12th century, it was Pope Innocent III. And what you do is form a scheme where through the use of illiteracy and fear of God, you promote a culture where the woman has to do everything that men say to them or suffer the consequences equally as men, in many cases more than men. You know, because to these miscreants, women cannot live equally as men, but when it comes to punishment, the playing field magically levels, and in an instant, boop, everybody is equal when it's time to, pay the price. So this is so that they can maintain not only access to womb on legs, access to the products of that womb, aka children, so that they can satisfy their greedy urges and misuse these people selfishly as they see fit. And see, here's the thing. If that woman decides that enough is enough and leaves all of them to suffer according to their own devices, they fear what will happen next. So I'm here to help people to decenter the quote-unquote they in this situation and put themselves back into the focus of their own lives. Fight a scoundrel's selfishness and abuse with self-love and self-actualization. That way, when women find themselves being cheated on, beaten on, being misused and abused, okay, but they are in a situation where their faith is keeping them there, okay, I'm here to help you to see your value and your worth.
80% of consumer base is female. 80% of consumer base is female.
So that while you stay there, you can stand solid on the value of what you're doing. And if they have a problem with, for instance, the guy that wanted his wife to treat his outside child equal to their own children that she had with them, even though she didn't birth that child, okay, I'll treat him that way if you pay daycare fees. Because what you're asking her to do is become a daycare facility. Otherwise, that child can stay with the mother that gave birth to him. That's fairness. Now, I get it from the angle of the child. It doesn't seem nice. I do get that. But far too often, when these kinds of things occur, the first thing people think about is the child, and also they go into this thought process of or punishing the wife because she stayed in her relationship. She didn't violate. She's not the reason why things are the way that they are. It's because of the husband. But people tend to have this like punishing mindset towards women, that if a woman makes a decision on her own within her own capacity, that she has to like suffer. I categorically disagree with that. And bear in mind, I'm the type of person that will leave a situation like that. So I'm speaking from a perspective of fair is fair. She didn't do anything to deserve punishment. The husband did. So he doesn't get to just sweep his liabilities beneath his wife's skirt. So let him carry the weight of the decisions that he made. Fair is fair. So I'm here for everybody, for the women like myself who will just say, nope, I'm done, I'm out. And for the women who are saying, no, I don't want to violate my faith, I'm going to stay. Okay, if you're going to stay, if you're going to pray, at least stand up on the fact that you do have value and you do have say so. And you don't have to be the one to deal with the liability of what people are doing to you. Let them pay. Because you know what happened? One or two things. The first thing is that it'll eventually push the charlatans to either leave because they cannot withstand not being the center. They can't withstand the weight of the liability that's being placed on them. Or it'll push them to change and to submit to the truth that the woman is the one that holds the economic power. It will also expose the ones who use brainwashed men as weapons against women. And that population is very diverse and definitely includes other women. Like the guy with the nursing home saying that he's recording his wife so that his family can see what's happening. The family weaponized him and tried to use his loyalty to them to go against his own wife that he walked down the aisle. So think about it. Every time a woman leaves a backwards people to perish, every time they're like, I'm getting out of here, I'm not putting up with this nonsense, what do those backwards people do? Soon they are stumping over to where she is located and trying to bring that same backwardsness over into her area. So from where I'm standing, I'm saying, look, ladies, accept who you are, embrace your power, and use it to succeed. And sit on your throne, sit at your place at the table with confidence. Let me show you something. This is a picture of Aset, also known as Isis. You see, the thing that sits up top of her head is a throne. That little geometric shaped thing, that is a throne. And what it signifies is that she is the one who holds the power, not only to the throne itself, but to the masses of people. And one of her elements is seen as water. Think about what would happen if a city ran out of water. You see, this is what ancient Egyptians thought about women, that she is like water, and without water, without her, there is no life. And this is true, whether she's a Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, agnostic, or not. The truth is the same. And the truth is, no woman, no community, no economy, no nation. So that's all I have to say for now. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and click on the notifications bell. Take care until next time.